The Constitution, in my opinion, is an operator's manual for our country. And the Constitution says, executive branch, you have these powers, legislative branch, you have these powers, and judicial branch, you have these powers. And then if you go to the 10th Amendment, the 10th Amendment reads, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. Meaning anything that listed in those articles is defaults to the states, which is a much longer list than specifically enumerated powers. How does your interpretation of the 10th Amendment shape your policy views and plans for the federal government as it relates to the states?
Well, if we really truthfully follow the 10th Amendment, there's major city blocks of Washington, D.C. that would be vacated. And I'm not just saying that rhetorically. There is so much power that has moved to a centralized federal government in which there is no authority for that power to exist in Washington and at the federal level. One of the things the founders feared most, and the reason that the Bill of Rights was written, and the reason specifically the 10th Amendment was added, was because they feared that one day too much government would get centralized into too few hands. They always had a distrust of government. Isn't it interesting that people who created our government didn't trust it very much? That should tell us something. And so they were so fearful of it that they not only enumerated what the powers were, but then they put one more emergency brake on the whole thing called the 10th Amendment, and they said, if it's not specifically listed here, it's the state's power. And if we looked at what the federal government has done, whether it's the Department of Education, the Department of Energy, many aspects of the EPA, you would just say, where does that come from? Where does that authority originate? And the problem is, because we have moved power to Washington, we've really messed this country up, to be blunt. One of the most important things the next president should do is to devolve the power away from Washington and bring it back to places where people live who are going to be most affected. Because the founders believed that the best government was the most local and the most limited. Limited government because we really should govern ourselves, and the less government the better. Local government because the best form of government is the government that is closest to the people being governed, because there actually will be accountability that won't be when you are separated by hundreds, if not thousands of miles, and many cultures, and many ways in which there is no connection between the people making the decisions and the people who have to live under the decisions.